So I've always wanted to make a nightlight for my daughter's room, so I figured it'd be a really cool project. So I'm starting out with some acrylic here. I've never worked with it before, but it was pretty easy. I used a 10-inch acrylic cutting blade in the table saw, and it did a fantastic job, left a very clean edge. Went ahead and painted it with just some Krylon paint, nothing too special, and I'm cutting it out here on the CNC. I'm using a 1/16" Spectra-coated spiral O-flute upcut. It did a great job here on the acrylic and left a very clean surface just to blow off a little bit of the chips that were left over. And we have a nice clean piece ready to go. So this is going to be the front of the light box. Now we're switching out for a glue line rip blade to rip my material down to size to make the actual box out of. So I'm using some marble wood here, and this blade left an incredible surface. Literally no sanding required. It was perfect. So I'm switching out now again to the 20 tooth. This is a Euro rip blade, and it has a flat tooth grind on it, so it'll do great for carving out the grooves for the backer piece and for the actual piece of acrylic. So my groove wasn't quite wide enough, so I just need to bump the fence over a little bit to make the backer piece slide in there real nice. And then we'll do the same thing for the acrylic. I'll do that in 2 passes, just a little bump with the fence since it's 1/4" acrylic. Then the acrylic fits in there really nice. So then we'll switch out for an 80 tooth blade. This is a crosscut blade and will give me a perfect crosscut with 0 tear out. We're going to angle the saw to 45 degrees to cut all my miters, and then we will be able to get the box assembled. So here I'm using the blue tape method, gluing everything together, and we'll just use the blue tape to hold it in place, and then we'll come back and add splines to everything. So I just used some LED strip lights and attached it to the backer board that I found on Amazon, and they worked great. So now I need to go ahead and make a spline jig. I don't have a spline jig for this table saw, so we're going to go ahead and do that. We're ripping all the pieces to size here. I need it to be taller than the actual fence, and then the piece wide enough to attach together. So I'm using the Nomar countersink here. Gave me a consistent depth and very clean cuts with no cleanup required. So now I'm making the fence piece that the actual box will rest on. And so we use a drafting square to mark out an exact 45 so that I get a nice even spline on both sides. So here we're cutting the splines, clamp it to the actual jig, and then run it through the blade. With a flat tooth grind, it gives me a real nice pocket to set everything into. So here we got a piece of material that is the exact thickness, so I'm using some walnut here, and we just need to cut out the actual splines. So then we'll go ahead and glue those in. I'm using Titebond 2 glue here, and got a really nice fit, so we'll do the rest of them, and I just clamp it in there just to give it any extra support if there's any sort of gap or anything like that. So then I'll use a hand plane to get everything nice and level. Makes really quick work of it. It's a lot easier than using some sort of saw or anything like that. It's time for a bit of sanding. And this guy is pretty much ready to go. A little more sanding on each side and then on the back, and then to finish it up with a little hand sanding to break all of the edges, because there's no sharp edges left on it. So here I'm using some spray lacquer in satin to go ahead and give this guy a real nice finish. Came out absolutely beautiful. Absolutely happy with the way this came out. Definitely stick around till the end to see my daughter's reaction to it. It's pretty awesome. But let us know what you think in the comments, and we'll catch you guys back out here on the next one.